Reporting in Cutler Bay, Chris Fisher, NBC6 News.
Yeah, from Cutler Bay, that was where one of the tornadoes was reported. And this is the other one, Fort Lauderdale Beach. This is another perspective of the tornado that we've been talking about that really was creating some havoc, some panicked people when they saw this. This is new video that we're just getting into the NBC6 newsroom of that tornado. Yeah, you may remember we were showing you this a little bit earlier, that video of the funnel cloud, the tornado, as it was out making its way towards Fort Lauderdale. And that's what John Morales was just talking about a little bit earlier. This is just one of many that we have heard from meteorologist John Morales around town. Now, he is coming back in just a moment. I see him making his way back to the weather set. And of course, he's going to probably give us an update on some of the tornado warnings that are going on around town.
But right now, I just want to, and also, I guess you just tossed to me and I didn't realize it. Yeah, listen, I just want to update people on where the tornadic cells are at. Is this live? That wasn't live, right? That picture?
Oh, no, that's video.
That was video.
Of the tornado on Fort Lauderdale
The one
Beach.
in Fort Lauderdale. Oh, yeah, the one that we previewed before it was even a tornado-warned cell, indeed. Hey, I just want to bring people up to date because, I mean, we had seen that tornado very clearly on our radar in Country Walk, and it probably had moved through Richmond Heights. So we're back in that area. You can see that there's more coming inland. There's downtown Miami. Here's Key Biscayne right here. Very, very heavy squall moving through. This is slid into Coconut Grove, down to Coral Gables, and then we look over into this area where the showers and thunderstorms continue to be quite strong. So let's see if we can still spot the tornado, which was very clear on the velocity. Earlier we had seen the couplet down in Country Walk. So let's switch to velocity on our First Alert Doppler 6000, and we'll be able to see whether I suspect down here. Well, let's see. Yeah, there we go. Possibly right around here. Let's go in here and let's see if it's still there. So from, goodness me, this still appears to be right in that area. Might be a new one moving towards the west. I don't see another one off to the west, so we're still looking at the possibility of more tornadic activity going through that area of Country Walk. And then the one that was up in Broward that had departed the Weston area, remember, that one had crossed through Davie, had moved through Weston. We can probably slide up there and see what's going on with that one right now, just to make sure that we are safe and we can give the all clear in terms of it's out in the Everglades, and there it is. Plain as day. Tornado right there, spinning around, moving away on this side, air moving towards us on the opposite side. This is spinning around, and you've got a tornado, thank goodness, right now over the rural area of the county and moving away from Weston. Probably another one down here, but I bet a new one just spun up there. So we got one out of south of I-75, other one north of I-75, but these are both out in rural locations. So as far as the tornadoes that we know about and the tornado warned areas that we know about, one down by Country Walk, another one here that moved out of Weston. Is this a new warning coming on? This could be a new warning. It does appear like it's a new warning being issued in rural Broward, but it does include I-75. Hopefully nobody's driving through there. But again, I had just shown you, if you bring back the velocity, and let's see if the velocity falls smack in the middle of where this warning has been issued, and it does. It's such an incredible tool that we can show this to you before the warnings are issued. It's just fantastic. There it goes. There's a tornado right there. Right now, there's a tornado going through rural Broward County, sliding towards the west. You can, you can actually see the spin right there. Nobody lives out here, but there's a tornado there happening right now at 7:50 p.m. On this Saturday evening as Hurricane Irma is down by the Cuban coast. So maybe one last look, Steve. We'll zoom out, show you what's going on overall with the reflectivity, just to give a general idea of what else is coming. So we have that one out in rural areas of the county. For the rest of Fort Lauderdale right now, except for maybe Hallandale, things are pretty quiet. This is mainly light rain coming in, but from Aventura, down through North Bay Village, further south through all of Miami Beach, further south still into Key Biscayne, inland into downtown Miami, Little Havana, parts of Allapattah, further south through Coconut Grove, Coral Gables, all that activity sliding to the west with more coming, sliding in from the east-southeast and moving towards the northwest. And then down in the Florida Keys, we've had several tornado warnings for the lower Florida Keys as the hurricane's eye is way down here, picked up by our first alert Doppler 6000. And, you know, you're not seeing it more clearly because it hasn't quite left the Cuban coast. It's been spinning down there for quite some time. Once this starts to move closer to Key West, it's going to fill in. We'll see the entire eye of the hurricane very clearly, but that's where it's located, and it kind of seems a little bit stalled, to be honest, as far as its movement over the past couple of hours. But again, each one of these bands brings danger as they come in with showers and thunderstorms, but the most dangerous one is the one that's affecting right now the area of Miami-Dade County as more cells come in from the east. That's it, guys.
And John, real fast, you talked about the dirty side of the storm. How relatable is this to Wilma?
Yeah, good point. Wilma very definitely passed to our west. It was moving from southwest towards the northeast, and it put all of the Florida Keys, Miami-Dade, and Broward on its dirty side. And there was a part of Broward that saw the eye wall and actually had the calm inside the eye because the eye clipped parts of the metro area of Broward County as Wilma slid from southwest towards the northeast, and that eye got into Broward County. So, yes, it's a good comparison in that sense, although I worked Wilma. I was at in this building, but working for Channel 51, and I don't recall the enormous amount of tornado warnings that we have seen just tonight, and it's beeping again, and we're going to get another one. Steve, bring the tornado layer here. There it is. So we had shown you just offshore the area near the coast of southern Broward. So I had mentioned Hallandale, I had mentioned Aventura, and we had weather moving in there, and now a new tornado warning has been issued for those locations. This is just nuts. I mean, it's just one after the other. So closer, let's see, slide this gradually this way so we can see it more clearly. There you go. Thank you very much. So there might be something right there. Again, always look for these appendages. Let's see the velocity, and let's see if that shows up any evidence. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, so near Hallandale, moving towards the west at 30 miles per hour, radar indicated. Again, I mean, you look for the couplets, right? So we're looking at air moving towards our radar and air moving away from our radar. So the tornado is generally right here. This is where the tornado is. So Hallandale, exactly. That's where the National Weather Service is indicating. So we're talking about the border between Dade and Broward counties. And there could be a tornado, certainly radar indicated tornado right now going on right here to the west of A1A, south of Hallandale Beach Boulevard, and north of Ives Dairy Road. There's something spinning right here with the velocity out and the velocity, the velocity in and the velocity out in the other direction and sliding towards the west. So again, more tornadic activity. Several tornado warnings are in effect right now for South Florida, and each one of these bands continues to bring activity into our area. There's the radar again, and you can see down to the south more activity towards Sunny Isles Beach, Bay Harbor Islands in Miami, North Miami Beach, North Miami, Bay Harbor, just one after the other. Watch out, because you never know when these things are going to spin up. Again, new warning just issued.
And as a matter of fact, just a couple of minutes ago, we got one right above us here in Miramar.
That's why our phones are going off, because we're in this area. So this is pretty scary as these things continue to come in and everything else. And so everybody out there, please make sure you're in a safe place within your homes right now. Now, Stephanie Bertini, she is live downtown at the Intercontinental Hotel, where they have seen some bad weather there. Stephanie.
So, Joanne, we kind of pulled up here because we just wanted to kind of regroup and see where we could find a safe place. And management has been really nice to allow us to park our news unit. So we're parked underneath the covering. Ed Noel, my photographer, just panning up so you can see we are in a safe place. Going to take a look through the glass of the front entrance. You can see they were taking some precautions here. But people inside are there, out-of-towners who kind of found themselves here because of the weather conditions, maybe canceled flights, etc. So they're in there. And I'm going to take you on a little walk because I think it's safe enough just to give you a look at the weather situation, to bring you that reality on the screen. But we know we're safe because of where we are located. So again, we're underneath this covering. You can see that wind really picking up now as you come with me live. And I'm going to take you to the edge here. This is where the bay is. It's a little dark, but you see the rain coming down. We've watched this weather change by the minute here. And Ed's a little shaky as he's following me because the winds are really high. And this is just another warning to anybody who at this point hasn't realized how serious and volatile the weather situation is. Just look at the changes here. I can literally see the wind because of the rain. You could see, maybe not through the television, maybe not through the lens, but with my own eyes, I could see that wind and that rain. It's moving that way. And you can see my jacket just moving as I'm walking out here. So that bay, if I try to walk any farther, at this point, the wind is pulling me back. So not too far, just feet from the hotel. Ed, show them just how far we are. We're not far at all. Feet from that hotel where we do feel safe. Out here, we're absolutely vulnerable. So when I was talking to management here, they said this is why they decided not to evacuate, because they said, look, you see that weather picking up. Come back over here. So let me take you back underneath the covering. So management basically saying this is exactly why we didn't evacuate. When we were looking at the forecast, we knew how bad this would be, and we didn't want to leave people stranded. A lot of hotels in the area, downtown Miami, Miami Beach, North Beach, have evacuated. But this hotel has decided to remain open to people that were already checked in. So they're not taking any new clients, no new guests, but they are remaining open. And let's come back up here to people who were already checked in. And they're also open for their employees. Interesting. Employees that didn't feel safe at home actually brought their family members here. That's what the manager told me just minutes ago. And they've actually given rooms to their employees and their families because, look, they know how dangerous it is out there, they say, and they just want to make sure everybody's safe. So we're going to hang out here for a while. We're actually going to go inside, and I'll bring you inside when we come back here live. We're going to talk to some people about what they're thinking as they're watching this crazy and unpredictable weather right outside their hotel.
And very unpredictable indeed. And be safe out there, Stephanie. We got a good example of just how strong those wind gusts can be. Just taking a look behind you. Great job explaining that.
And you got to give it to the Intercontinental Hotel as well, offering their employees shelter in the hotel. They did not evacuate the hotel, and they said to their employees, if you don't feel safe in your homes, you can come on down with your families and we'll give you safe shelter, and kudos to them. We're going to move now to Coconut Grove, very close to downtown Miami where Stephanie was at. And look at that. It's coming down hard now, Dan.
Jackie, what a difference just 30 minutes makes. My photographer Steve Payne and I were actually standing right next to the marina when John Morales on the air said he noticed what looked like a squall passing Key Biscayne and heading towards Coconut Grove where we were. When we looked out in the water, that's what we appeared to see as well. So we took cover, moved our vehicle, our news vehicle, and ourselves to the other side of Miami City Hall, historic Miami City Hall. That's what I'm looking at right now. So the winds and the rain are actually more fierce than appear on camera because we're getting blocked by a building. You can imagine standing right out there by the water. And as of 30 minutes ago, there are at least 24 people out here looking and taking pictures of this storm. They're coming up to us, asking us what we thought about it. We told them, go home. You have no business being out here right now. These winds are very fierce. I got my wind meter out. I put it away. It's clocking winds about 26 miles per hour, but it was an hour ago. These have to be double what they were just 1 hour ago. Steve, you can zoom up to the flag right here behind me. You can see this American flag flapping in the wind. And again, where we're standing, we're being blocked by a building. We're also noticing loud noises and explosions of green and blue lights in the air. Those are transformers blowing throughout the area. So not one, not two, but we saw it 3 different times. But if you look behind me in the distance, some of these high rises still have their lights on. Some of them do not. And over to my left, which you can't really see right now, was a full view of downtown Miami. Some of that is in the dark now too. So we know that transformers are blowing throughout the area. We are seeing it. On the way here, we noticed lots of trees covering the roadways, some trees laying on power lines. So very dangerous situation out on the roadways. I'm coming in closer now to City Hall because I feel like the winds are definitely picking up. If you go to my Twitter or my Facebook accounts, you can actually see the boats thrashing in the water. Some of them, a catamaran just to my left, is actually hitting the seawall. So that's the situation in Coconut Grove. We'll send it over to you now.
Yeah, this is John Morales. I mean, certainly you've got that squall moving in there, and it's really, really busy across the Coconut Grove area as we zoom out here. So here's Key Biscayne, and here's the area where that broadcast was just being made from, right down here in the Grove, and you can see just how strong that shower and thunderstorm activity is right now in that location. Also, up to the north, as we look towards North Miami and further in, I mean, all the way past the Sweetwater area. Here's the Tamiami Trail. You can see just how busy it is. This whole feeder band here is bringing copious amounts of rain with strong winds, as just shown in that live shot that we just did from Coconut Grove. So here comes our radar sweep, again, updating live what's out there right now. And I believe we only have one tornado warning left. So let's try to go to the tornado warning layer, and we'll be able to see what's left out there. We've got the one that was issued for the area of Highlandale Beach. So we're going to focus in on this area, and we're going to bring the reflectivity on and see what type of situation we have in terms of the showers and storms. So here's Pembroke Pines. We know that Hallandale's right down here. This is really bordering or hugging the Dade County line and moving towards the west. We're sitting right here. Our studio's right under that radar dome right there, and let's see if velocity shows any hints of possible tornadic activity out there as we look for these couplets using the Doppler to be able to see what's going on. So as I look around, there might be a couplet right there. Right there, this is a suspect area, Steve, so let's zoom in here. This is actually just south of the county line. This is in Miami Gardens. Here's 441, and let's see if I can situate myself. Here's I-75, and as it feeds into the Palmetto. So this is the Palmetto. Here's Miami Gardens, 441, 95 going off to the east, and this right here, suspect area near Southwest 41st Street, again straddling. This actually is, if I look at the county line, this actually could be in Broward. Either way, Ives Estates right there. This is moving quickly towards the west. Let's take all layers off, and maybe we can situate ourselves in terms of, there's what's it called these days? Hard Rock Stadium. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's had so many names I can't keep up. So that means that North Perry Airport is not far from here, just off to the north. There it is right there, North Perry in Pembroke Pines. And we're talking right in this area. This is where the tornado is spinning. Bring back the velocity, and we'll see the couplet. There it is, right there, crossing the turnpike. That's the turnpike right there, Lake Lucerne, and it's near the turnpike where the turnpike starts to head towards the west again. So west and north in that area. So Lake Lucerne, this tornado moving towards the west, at least radar indicated tornado in that spot right now from the one that had come on shore near Hallandale Beach not too long ago. Still living, still moving through this area, sliding towards the west. As I told you several times, interior room, away from windows. Call those radio stations until they start simulcasting us, okay? Because I want you to, if you can't watch me, I want you to hear what's going on and know where these tornadoes are going on. And again, these are moving towards the west at this time. All right, back to reflectivity. Bigger picture, make sure that we don't spot anything more that might be suspect. So we bring back the reflectivity, zoom out, and you can see that the heaviest activity right now is most definitely in Dade, but as far north as the county line with Broward. So this feeder band is the one that's giving us trouble right now. It extends across northern Dade as our lights start to flicker here. Again, we're sitting we're sitting right here, so we're probably getting clipped by the northern end of this feeder band, which means business as it continues to slide in from the east, from downtown Miami all the way past the county line into Hallandale. Right now it's just big squall line with big time winds. Rain falling sideways right now with tropical storm force winds, and embedded in all that, we more than likely have tornadoes like the one I just showed you near Lake Lucerne moving towards the west. I don't see necessarily other appendages offshore. You know, Steve, just to be safe and make sure that people are safe, we'll do the velocity again and examine this area here. And again, I mean, there's a possibility of something there too. Again, we might have some rotation going on right down here. It's possible that we have something going on there as it moves towards Miami Beach. Just too numerous to, tell you that any one neighborhood is safe right now from seeing an incoming tornado that might be moving at 50 or 60 miles an hour as it spins around in these bands. Let's head out to the east just a little bit, make sure there's nothing else behind it. And, well, there's one right here. There's one right here. Another one right there. Bring back reflectivity, please. And let's stop the loop and see how far this is offshore. Yeah, so it looks like there's something right there. And this also is heading towards the west. So, again, just one after the other. Folks, it's about as busy a hurricane night, even though the hurricane is 200 miles away, as we've ever had. And they're just coming one after the other. So we'll wrap this up for now. Go look at the radar in detail, make sure there's nothing else coming, and make sure we warn you and keep you safe. Back to you.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need. Okay, John Morales, and you can interrupt us anytime. We will not take offense. The first and most important thing is to keep our viewers safe, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And a lot of you out there asking about the First Alert Doppler 6000, just so you know, you go to the NBC6 News and Weather app. There you click on forecast. Once you click on forecast, there's a live radar. Click on that live radar. That will take you to everything you need to see and know down to your city and neighborhood. You just click there and it's all there for you. You'll have the First Alert Doppler 6000 there, similar to what John is seeing right there, which will help you find out a little bit more about the tornadoes and all this activity you're seeing behind us.
And speaking of neighborhoods, let's go to the Edgewater neighborhood in Miami. Michael Spears is there. Have you seen some storm damage there, Michael?
Absolutely. We can't show you right now because of where we had to move, Jackie. We had to move behind a wall because within the last 30 minutes, you heard Dan, the last 30 minutes was really a powerful burst across the city of Miami. We're in Biscayne Bay area. We're right along the bay. We can show you a little bit of the street now. The rain's really dying down a little, but the wind has been more constant than it has been earlier. And if we pan up a bit, you can see some of it blowing on the light up there on top of that parking deck. You heard John Morales talk about sideways rain. That's what we've seen. For the most part, it started to be a little bit windy earlier, about an hour ago, and then the rain came, and it's been pretty constant since. So we've seen this whipping around quite a bit since then. If I move to my left here, you can see some of the palm trees that are blowing in the wind and get some more of the rain. Right now, what you're looking at is not even as intense as what we saw earlier. It's been, again, coming in waves. We took a short walk along the bay wall where you're looking toward now to look at the conditions of the water. Still not cresting and moving over the seawall in this area, but extremely choppy. And when we see these big waves come in of wind and rain into our area, it completely washes out Miami Beach. You can't even see it from where we're standing right now, looking straight east at it. And then all of a sudden, within minutes, you feel those winds and those rains smack us here to the point where you have to find places like where we're standing right now to block out some of the wind and rain. We've been out here reporting, trying to show folks the conditions, saw some neighbors poke their heads out of the balcony trying to wave us away, but promise we are finding some safer spots to be, just try to show you some of these conditions. You heard folks talk about power outages. We've seen firsthand some of these generators blow, or these systems blow with the green flashes in the area. Luckily, it appears in this neighborhood that the power is still on around 30th and Biscayne. However, we have seen the street lights flicker from time to time, though in these conditions we haven't seen hardly anyone outside, so that is some good news. Again, coming in waves here, sometimes more intense than others, but definitely more consistent than what we saw earlier this afternoon. Back to you.
Okay, Michael, thank you so much. I just wanted one quick question, because the last time we went to you, it was also pretty bad, but you said now you're seeing more consistent wind and rain?
We could even lean back into it, Jackie,
right.
But then it would die down. And, you know, now it's definitely more consistent. And what you saw even right now is not even the most intense part of what we've seen tonight, Jackie.
Okay, be careful out there, Michael.
Yeah, definitely be careful. And that's usually what you see with those squalls that come in right there. Okay, we're going to take another look at that funnel cloud that was spotted right off of Fort Lauderdale Beach, and we're going to take a look at that. That should be coming up in just a moment. As you know, that meteorologist John Morales has been coming back and forth on air. You've been receiving the alerts either on your television screen or hearing them on the radio or your phones about the tornado warnings all across South Florida, in Broward and in Miami-Dade County.
We call it funnel cloud because until it touches ground, it doesn't become an actual tornado. So that's what differentiates a funnel cloud from a tornado.
Yes, and then we had to look that up just to make sure we gave you the proper terminology with that. But again, we do have some video into our newsroom. We're going to try and get to that because it was pretty incredible sight. Seeing that funnel cloud right offshore and then seeing it approach Fort Lauderdale Beach and then some other areas, of course, in Cutler Bay as well. Okay,
there we go.
There it is right there. There is that funnel cloud that Jackie was talking about and that John was alerting us of before even a lot of people even knew about it because of First Alert Doppler 6000. Again, this is that funnel cloud. Pretty incredible video, but this is all caused, as you heard from meteorologist John Morales, from the dirty side of the storm, which is Hurricane Irma. And that is what we are dealing with right now.
It's interesting because John had said that this hurricane is still a couple of 100 miles away from us. But when you look at how massive Hurricane Irma is, and I think we were talking about somewhere in the vicinity of 400 miles, then that's why we're getting so much activity here, and especially because we are on that dirty side. You know, we keep talking about the quadrants, the 4 quadrants of a tornado. If you were to cut it up in quadrants, the upper right side of that, that is the dirty side, and that's exactly where we are located right now as this system moves away from Cuba towards the Keys and into the western part of Florida. This is what we're getting right now, and according to John, we're going to be feeling the effects of Hurricane Irma for a good 18 hours.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty incredible too, because John was talking about Hurricane Wilma, and
right.
he was making the comparisons, but he said with this, he said that he had never come across so many tornado warnings in such a short period of time. And with that said, I do see meteorologist John Morales walking back again to alert us with some more information. John, are you ready?
Yeah, I mean, there's just no rest because they're just one after the other, and we've got another one as warnings continue to be issued. And let's make sure, Steve, that this is the only one right now, because I keep hearing bells and things going off in the background, and I want to make sure that across our viewing area, and why don't you pan so that we can include the lower Florida Keys where there's been several tornado warnings too. Just want to make sure that they're not currently one, they're not. So that's good. Reflectivity now, big picture. See what's going on out there in terms of the tornado activity. And there you go across Miami-Dade County right now. This is the band, the feeder band that we've been quite concerned about. It's feeding in from the east as it rotates around the hurricane, which is way, way, way down there. You know, the tornado, I mean, we're talking so much tornadoes that I haven't been able to address the hurricane, but this hurricane has taken its sweet time to get off the coast of Cuba. It's good because it's way past our longitude, so by the time it turns north, it's not coming here, but nevertheless, there is going to be damage because there's been so many tornadoes this evening that it's just, and confirmed tornadoes, that we know they've hit the ground. This feeder band is trouble, folks, and it's still rotating around, affecting many areas of northern Miami-Dade County and southern Broward County. So, as you can see, and we'll start zooming in here to look at the area of Aventura, Miami Beach, into Miami Gardens, because the tornado or possible tornado that had been detected earlier near Miami Gardens, straddling the county line. I suspect that that is now still present but moving towards the west. So we'll change to velocity, make sure whether we look at any possible couplets out there that might be going on right now in terms of activity. And as you can see, there is a suspect area still located right around here with the wind moving away and towards the radar here at the same time. So we're talking about Miramar and not far from Pembroke Pines this is actually right close to our station, as a matter of fact, as it's moving towards the west. So possible tornado in this area right now as it slides towards the west. We'll take the reflectivity now. Actually, no, good. I'm glad you did that. Let's spin it around a few times. And, of course, it gets really confusing here. So, you know, folks, when you're using Doppler, you have to realize that if my radar is sitting right here, right, and what Doppler does is, let's see if we can explain the Doppler principle. What's the best analogy? You know, when you're standing at an intersection where there's a railroad crossing and the train is moving towards you, and say the train blows, they blow the whistle of the train, and you hear that whistle at a certain pitch, and then the train passes you while it's blowing the whistle. The minute it passes you, the pitch of that whistle decreases. So it might be high. I'll just do it. You know, say it's once it goes past you, it sounds different, right? The reason for that is the sound waves, as they're coming towards you, because the train is moving, the sound waves are getting compressed. So the frequency changes. The wavelength of that sound wave is compressed as it's moving towards you because the train has velocity. So it gets compressed. But once the train moves past you, the sound wave gets stretched out and the wavelengths are longer, and therefore the frequency is different and it sounds different. That's the Doppler principle in a nutshell. So with our radar, we're sitting right here. Here's our radar. The overall situation is that the winds are generally coming in from the east, and we're seeing all this green right here up and down I-75 because this is where the air is moving from east to west. But then you get immediately past our radar and it changes to the opposite color because it's moving away. So this air is moving towards us, this air is moving away from us. So it doesn't mean necessarily that there's a tornado here and here and here and here. It's just that that's where our radar is sitting, and when we're using Doppler, that's what it's going to look like because the green is air moving towards us and the red is air moving away from us. So back to the tornadic activity. But I thought it was important to explain that right now so that you can understand how Doppler works. So we're concerned about this area over here, pretty much getting close to our station right now. And we can see a bit of a couplet right there, and we were worried because this is the area that earlier had been way over here in Miami Gardens, right? It was near 441, and that has moved all the way over here, very close to our station right now. So if you are in Miramar, there's a risk of tornadoes for you too. Big picture again, back to reflectivity, just to point out to folks that as we look to, well, don't take reflectivity just yet. There might be more activity right here as it moves in, as we saw another couplet there. So, again, lots of activity coming in. Let's make sure we stay safe. More coming, probably more tornado warnings coming. And, you know, certainly there's probably damage that has already occurred from some of these across South Florida right now.
That's really unbelievable. I mean, that the fact that John Morales is surprised at all the tornadic activity associated with this hurricane, that he hasn't covered something this active, that's correct? Is that a correct statement, John?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I've been on TV in this market for 26 years, and I don't recall ever a hurricane having as many tornadoes as this one has. Now, I mean, there are more tools today that there were in 1995 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 2 when Andrew came. So we can detect these with a lot greater ease than we could back 25 years ago. So that's what allows us to issue all these tornado warnings and keep you guys safe. And then, of course, we have this wonderful tool, which, I mean, if you've been watching this coverage for the last 2.5 hours, I believe 2 or 3 times we've actually called for a tornado possibly forming before it was warned upon. upon by the National Weather Service because we saw it first with a live First Alert Doppler 6000.
And we've been getting a lot of requests from our viewers asking, how do we get it again? So once again, Joanne.
Yeah.
Oh, she's
No, actually, I'll say it.
Okay, yes, you do it.
okay.
No, I mean, just go to your app store and NBC6 News and Weather app, and within there's a weather section, and you can zoom into your neighborhood. It's really, really useful. I'm going to take this opportunity one more time to call out Y100 and WIOD and ask you, why are you not simulcasting like you said you would? Thank you. Back to you.
Okay, we also received some
tweets
from viewers that were saying, we lost power. We have a battery operated radio.
They're listening to music right now,
and they're playing music right now. But they just retweeted me and said they're back on. So thank you, Y100.
Thank you, Y100.
You're doing a great service for this community because this is a dangerous situation, and people need to know when there's a tornado in their area. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Okay, we're going to check in with NBC6's Adam Cooperstein. He is live in Miami Beach. He continues to follow the storm from Miami Beach, and it looks like you are feeling it out there, Adam.
Juwan, I'm actually right now in downtown Miami. This is right on Biscayne Boulevard and 12th Street, our center right over there. You know the spot. And if you look over here, the reason we stopped is we actually wanted to help this man. I saw him on the side of the road. He was struggling trying to fix a flat tire. You got it all solved now, but what happened, man?
Thank God. Apparently a nail got me. I was headed to the beach to have some fun a little bit, but it was a bad idea. Yeah. So I got off flat on the highway, so I managed to get back under here to get some shelter. And my brothers helped me out. They brought me a spare.
You came out here with your wife and your kids, and
my kids just figured it would be a good idea, but it was not.
Yeah, you learned the hard way, unfortunately.
Absolutely. My best advice: stay home.
Yeah, you heard it right there. No, and that's why people have been saying that for a long time. But I'm glad you got help. We stopped to help, and then another guy from Public Works from Miami-Dade County came over to give you an air compressor. But your brother came from what, North Bay Village, and came down to help you out?
Yep.
Very lucky, very lucky, and the overpass is saving the day too.
Oh yeah, if not, I'll be more drenched than whatever.
Yeah, dude, you certainly didn't come dressed for it. He's got flip-flops on, shorts. That certainly isn't ideal. No.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're okay, and stay safe out there. And you only have a few blocks to get home, right? You said you're on Flagler.
Yeah, I'm right around the street.
Okay, good to know. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, be safe, guys. Take it easy. I'm glad his family's okay now, and you can see no reason to be out here right now. We've seen only a few people, and they've been stopping. Everyone's real friendly in the storm, stopping to see if they can help him out. But this gentleman's all set now. He's going to get on his way with his spare tire. You can take a look. There's the spare they just put on thanks to his brother. So downtown Miami, pretty windy, very rainy, and the only reason I'm not getting soaked right now is because of the overpass right above me. Back to you guys.
I was going to ask you that, Adam, why you weren't getting wet. Very smart maneuver there. But my question is, why are people out there and with their families, with little kids, Adam?
Well, I mean, exactly. There is no answer for that, Jackie. I asked him, he said it was stupid. He learned his lesson. He just said he wanted to, I mean, the reason, what was it? You said you wanted to go to the beach? What was the actual reason?
I wanted to experience Irma at firsthand, you know?
Yeah, people keep saying that. Like, this is a great example. Here we go. Public service right here on NBC6. He, like a lot of people have said this to me, oh, I want to experience Irma. But this is the kind of stuff that happens.
Yeah, man. I was on the road driving. I was like, yo, it can't happen. It can't be that my flat, when I have a flat on the way in the middle of a hurricane, but it was true. So
what have you seen while you were driving? Because I've noticed debris and palm fronds everywhere, some trees down.
Well, I was on the highway. I noticed that my car was literally being pushed by the wind, and in the middle of that, in the middle of a flat tire, I just decided to head back.
You're actually kind of lucky, because I mean, really, if you were on the highway and it went flat quickly, it could have been so much worse. So again, another good example here, learning his lesson. He'll be smarter, because you know we're going to get another one of these storms, unfortunately. That's where we live, and that's what happens, but good luck to you.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, guys.
I'm going to let him get dry. No, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm going to let him get dry, because he doesn't need to be out here any longer than he already is in his flip-flops. That's for sure. Back to you guys.
All right. Well, he's in good spirits there. All right, Adam, thank you for that live report.
But again, you should stay indoors. Okay, there's a lot of tornadoes out there, so stay indoors, stay safe. We're going to go now to Laura Rodriguez. She's outside of a shelter in Southwest Miami-Dade. You were carrying a baby the last time we saw you.
I was inside the shelter, then I actually came back inside our news vehicle to send back some stories over to you. But as we sat inside the car, that's when those tornado warnings started coming down. And I can tell you that minutes after those tornado warnings were issued, I saw dozens of people running into the shelter. I'm going to pan over just so you can see. I haven't gotten down yet. Here we are. So this is outside the shelter. You can see Miami-Dade police are out here. Many people have been running in, knocking on the door to be allowed inside. This shelter is off of Southwest 109th Avenue and Coral Way. The Red Cross volunteers tell me more than 2,000 people are inside this shelter at this time. They are filled to capacity, but they have not turned away anybody that has come and run inside. This was just happening within the last 10 to 15 minutes. I'll pan over here so you can see we do have our NBC6 News and Weather app. Actually, we're on the website right now, and I'm on that website monitoring, obviously for our safety as well. We're just feet away from that door. It's right by those shutters. So if we need to run in, we will take cover at any minute. And as you said, I was inside with this family, and this family was very, very cute. The baby just 2 months old, and incredible just talking to them, asking them about why they made the decision to bring their baby to the shelter. And they said essentially that it was the safest. Even though they live in the area, they did not live in an evacuation zone. They felt that if a Category 5 hurricane were going to hit, obviously the impacts could be devastating and could have devastated their home. I have not gone back in to ask them about this tornado warning. I'm going to try to get back in there as soon as I can, just to see how they're feeling now, having that 2-month-old baby and knowing, okay, maybe we're not going to be getting a direct hit, but clearly this tornado warning is alarming people, because again, people have come inside the shelter and they have run in. Now, if you are in this area in Southwest Miami-Dade, another shelter nearby that is not at capacity that you would be able to sleep in is Miami Coral Park Senior High School. That is off of 97th Avenue, near 97th Avenue more or less, and 16th Street, Southwest 16th Street, between 87th and 97th Avenue. So you can run in here, obviously, if necessary, if you do live in the area. They have not turned anybody away. This is a pet-friendly shelter, and I have seen many people run in with their pets. But again, if you live in this area and you need to go to a shelter, Miami Coral Park Senior High School still has some availability for you. Jackie, Jawan, if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you exactly that, because you said that there's 2,000 people that have gotten some refuge there in that shelter there on 109th and Coral Way. So the closest one you said is in Coral Park Senior High School. That's on Southwest 16th Street. And do you know how many people that can hold?
I'm not exactly sure. I just know that it's not filled to capacity. If you go on the miamidade.gov/emergency page there, it gives you the list of all of the shelters which are filled to capacity and which have availability. So there are other shelters closer than Miami Coral Park Senior High School, closer to this one, but those are also filled to capacity. So the closest one to the shelter that has availability is Miami Coral Park Senior High School. Okay, that is good to know. And as we saw yesterday with the mayor of Miami-Dade County, Carlos Jimenez, he said that they have enough for 100,000 people to fit into the shelters here in Miami-Dade County.
Okay, we're getting some new information into the newsroom here that FPNL will no longer be responding to service requests until the storm has passed. And right now, it's ironic enough that I went online here, and in Miami-Dade, 49,780 are without power. 49,780 are without power. Jack, you remember a short time ago, it was at 42,000.
Right, yeah. We knew that number was going to increase.
Absolutely.
And of course, you know, their crews can't go out there because the situation now is just much too dangerous. So they cannot put themselves out there and put their lives on the line in order to restore power. So they have said this all along, that as soon as the conditions got to a certain point, that they would stop sending out their crews to try to restore the power. And now they have to wait till this system is over. And of course, that's going to be late tomorrow or Monday morning before they can get their crews out. And so have a lot of patience. If you lost your power, you may have been expecting that because we knew what to expect out of this storm system. And this hurricane is mammoth, and we are continuing to feel the effects. And now, because we're on the dirty side of this storm, we're seeing so many tornadoes that have, we've been getting the warnings. We've been getting that information right to you. John Morales has been right on point with First Alert Doppler 6000. So, like we said, it's very important, but the safety of their lives is more important than restoring power. So we have to wait for another day or two before that begins to happen.
We know those strong wind gusts are coming in as well, which means that would put their lives at risk. FP&L crews out there, so they want to make sure that they protect their crews as well, the safety and lives of those workers. So that's why, but I'm sure many of you can understand that. So those of you that are without power tonight, we want you to please bear with FP&L crews because, again, they will no longer be accepting any type of service request until Irma is gone.
Let's go back to Laura because she's at one of those shelters in Southwest Miami-Dade, and I'm just curious, when we started seeing that increase in tornadic activity in the area, did you see an increase in people trying to get to the shelter?
Yes, definitely. I saw at least 10 people run in. They were getting out of their cars, many of them with pets. Again, this is one of the few pet-friendly shelters. Also, something important to note, when I was inside, the manager here at the shelter was telling me that anybody who decided to leave, if they're on a lockdown right now, so anyone who left before this lockdown essentially is not allowed back in with the sleeping bags and with everything. They're not turning away people, obviously, in this emergency, but they wanted to send that message that if you leave the shelter and decide to go home, you're taking a risk because this is filled to capacity. I mean, not one sleeping bag more fits in this area. I walked around. I could not pan around and show you because we did make an agreement with the Red Cross that I would only be interviewing that family out of privacy, but I mean, there's absolutely no space in there. It is very orderly, I will say, and the family was very grateful for the Red Cross volunteers. They have 2 meals a day. Everything was running smoothly, and everybody seemed to be calm at the time. But again, that was before these tornadoes. Another thing I want to stress to the viewers is, I mean, look at us. We're here in our car and we are tuning into NBC6.com. This has been very resourceful even for us out on the field, trying to get up-to-the-minute updates. I've been watching John as he's been saying where these tornadoes are touching down. Obviously, if that's the case, we are just feet away from the door, and we're making a run for it. Again, but we've just trying to been trying to feed back as much content as possible to the NBC6 team from inside that shelter. But we will obviously run in and take cover if necessary. But right now, we are safe. It is not raining heavily, and you can see it's not that windy right now if you take a look at that tree, but just minutes ago the weather wasn't holding up too much. But again, download the NBC6 News and Weather app, or if you have an iPad, you could also just go to our website. I do want to show my photographer Robert Valentine working very hard, all of our crews out on the field, at the station, people on and off camera, just really working around the clock to get you the most up-to-date information, and whatever we can do to give our viewers that information, we are happy to do so. Obviously, safety is our priority.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Laura. Great job out there. Of course, we want you guys to be safe. Be careful out there. As you said, plan on making a run for it.
And thank Robert from us as well. Thanks, Laura. Well, once again, we want to show you video of this funnel cloud that was spotted in Fort Lauderdale. This is on Fort Lauderdale Beach, obviously way in the back there. You could see the funnel cloud. You could see this was earlier. Obviously, it's daylight out there, and now it's not. But you could see those palm trees, how they were, blowing in the wind. And this is another perspective, another vantage point of that funnel cloud. And it's intense.
Yeah,
it really is. It has been an intense hour or two with all these tornadoes.
It's a scary but fascinating sight when you see a funnel cloud, and it's like, okay, it's cool if you just stay out there, but don't come mess with us. And so seeing this thing is pretty traumatic here, especially with everything that's going on. And then that's when your phone may have gone off as well, because we started getting tornado warnings galore coming into the NBC6 newsroom. And meteorologist John Morales, he was coming on air every I want to say every about 5 minutes or so, because there was another tornado warning. And many of you may have received those tornado warnings that happened from Broward County all the way down to Miami-Dade County, around the Cutler Bay, Homestead area, the Country Walk area, where there were tornado warnings there, and then up in Broward around the Sunrise area, and then, of course, what you're looking at, the Fort Lauderdale area. So this is incredible video. And here we're starting to experience some power outages here inside our NBC6 studios. Thank goodness we have a generator.
That's what I was going to say.
There was a tornado warning around our area as well, near the studio here.
Yeah, and we just experienced a power surge as well at our NBC6 studios in Miramar, and that tornado was reported about, say, 30 minutes ago, maybe, Jawan, and it was in the Pembroke Pines and Miramar area. But this, the one you're looking at now, this funnel cloud, this is the one in Fort Lauderdale. We've been reporting on tornadoes all over South Florida. As John mentioned, this is the dirty side. It just leads me to think, this isn't even a direct hit. This is something that's 200 miles away from us. These are some of those bands, that dirty side of the system. And can you imagine if we would have gotten a direct hit from this monster of a storm? I can't. And as I look around our area and our reporters in the different parts of this community, and I think this is only 200 miles away from the eye of this system, and this was headed towards us just 2 days ago. So I feel for the Florida Keys, I feel for the southwest part of the state of Florida, because this is truly a monster. This is a monster, and we're feeling that right now. And I know some people were like in the beginning, oh, well, it's not going to hit us. Why is it that we're doing this wall-to-wall coverage? Why are all the stations doing this wall-to-wall coverage? But that is why, because you're starting to see why, because of the tornadoes that have been spawned because of Hurricane Irma. As you heard from Jackie, as you heard from John, this is similar to Wilma with that dirty side. He said he didn't see this many tornadoes, these many tornadoes. He didn't see them even with Wilma. That was shocking for me.
When he said that, that was shocking for me as well. Now, I understand that technology is a little better now, but still, for John Morales, the Godfather, the professor, to say something like that, that says a lot, because my man, he's been doing this for a very long time. So, again, there's a reason why we're doing what we're doing, and we want to warn you about this right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, FPL shut down one of their nuclear reactors at Turkey Point. Yeah. That's how serious this is. Southern Command shifted operations to Arizona. Yeah. And of course, the Coast Guard, they left Key West. We reported on that yesterday. That's very significant. All of those factors, extremely significant. And when you have the governor that just said that he evacuated, what was it, 6.5 million residents from the state of Florida, that is, it's really unprecedented. It's really unprecedented. So we've had our reporters, different parts of this community in South Florida. Ari Odzer is in North Miami now with more from there. And, oh, we see it's coming down there as well, Ari.
All right, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear you guys tossing to me there. Hey, Juwan, we are at North Miami Beach City Hall, and it is raining cats and dogs here at City Hall. This is an absolutely miserable night. You can take a look through the light. You can see how hard it's raining over here, really coming down in sheets. A few minutes ago, it was blowing sideways. The wind has let up. I'm hoping that this wind meter gadget we've all been given the anemometer, my new favorite toy,